But first, let us introduce ourselves. I'm Bruno. I'm the head of product at Testkube. I've been talking with many testing companies that are evolving their testing methodologies, and we work a lot with Kubernetes and those big enterprises. So we have like a lot of knowledge that we would like to share with you today about that. And now I'll pass the word to you, Yuliia.
Yeah, thank you, Bruno. Hi all, my name is Yuliia. I am based in Lviv, Ukraine. I'm a DevOps engineer here in Testkube, and we are trying to make our Testkube installation for you as smooth as possible. And are working on integrating it in ArgoCD or in Argo loads, any tools that you may use that will ease your deployments and help you in your infrastructure. Thank you, Bruno. So as Bruno mentioned, there are many benefits that Testkube can provide when used with Argo. And today we will focus on ArgoCD posts and hooks and Argo rollouts. In the first part of demo, I will demonstrate how we can run test workflow after an application is synchronized successfully. And in the second part, we will explore how Testkube can be integrated into Argo rollouts deployment strategies to help catch unpredictable issues with the application and to ensure that they are functioning as expected. Before that, I'd like to share a few words on how we can trigger a test workflow before shifting our focus to ArgoCD posts and hooks. And actually, to start with, what test workflow is. So test workflow, this is the manifest where you can define your tests in your Kubernetes cluster. It's very powerful and flexible, and it gives you lots of room for customization, as you may define as many steps as you'd like there. You can provide environmental variables, you can provide resources requests and limits, you can provide the security context, and so on and so forth. And to read more about what test workflow is, how they work, you can in our documentation page. First, let's start with the Testkube dashboard. This is one of the way how you can trigger a test workflow. So Testkube dashboard, basically, this is the user-facing interface where you can interact with our Testkube components. Like you can create test workflows, you can create triggers, webhooks, and so on and so forth. So I'd like to switch to the dashboard to show you how it looks, what we can do there with test workflows, and then we will move forward from it. This is basically the prerequisite that I'm using in my demonstration. So my Kubernetes cluster, my Testkube account with the dashboard that I showed previously. I deployed the agent, which is the Testkube service that is running on your own infrastructure and executes the test, listens to events. And we also need ArgoCD for everything to be synced using the ArgoCD. We have our test workflow, they are testing our applications. And finally, test triggers and post and hook manifest, they will basically trigger those test workflows. I'm using for the demo our SaaS solution that is deployed at app.testkube.io. So here I have registered my account, I have my organization, and I have my environment. So environments, basically, this is where you can group your test workflow and everything that you, all the resources that you have for your Testkube. Once you open the dashboard, you will be landing on this page, where you can see the insights, the recent executions, and look through all the insight in details. Then we will go to the workflows. So today we will only work with this page, but later you may explore all the other functionalities that Testkube can provide. So I have pre-created 4 workflows for today's demonstration, and let's explore one of it. Let's say the K6 workflow success. So on the first step, we will have the overview. There we can see the visualization of our workflow, the statistics, the pass-fail ratio, execution duration, and so on and so forth. Next, we have the executions. I can see that all my executions are successful. We can find the time of the executions, the duration. We can choose the time frame, etc. The CLI commands. This is also one of the way how you can run your task workflow, but we will not cover it today. It's basically just using the kubectl tool, and you basically just copy the command and run it to your terminal, and you can create task workflow, you can list execution, you can delete the task workflow, and so on and so forth. Then we have the CI/CD integration. So these are the snippets of the code on how you can integrate Testkube into your CI/CD pipelines. And finally, the settings. There are many tabs to explore here, but I'll just want to briefly mention that here you may specify any customization you'd like and see the definition of your task workflow. Let's just open this one. So this is called the K6 workflow success. So what it does, it's a very simple code that basically just sends an HTTP GET request to this URL that I defined here is in a config. And that's it. It also accepts environmental variables and the artifacts. This is the path where it uploads the artifacts. So let's go back to the overview.
Artifact, Yuliia, is basically the file that's generated, right, from this test. So they generate like reports or videos or something, and Testkube will go to your pods, right, and then it will start it.
So for the SaaS solution, we store artifacts on our infrastructure, and in the UI, you basically can go to the execution and find the artifacts here, and just to download them. Yeah.
Awesome. Or open on the browser. It's also possible. Also, we have a SaaS offering, but also fully on-prem as well. So anyone can just go to Testkube and use Testkube. Also, it works also in air-gapped environments. So whatever deployment model people prefer, Testkube can do it for you.
Let's move to the Kubernetes event trigger and Argo post and hook. So I will quickly cover both these points. So in Testkube, event trigger allows you to trigger the execution of a workflow based on the Kubernetes events. For example, when a deployment gets updated or an ingress deleted, and so on and so forth. Whenever a resource gets updated in your cluster, be it by ArgoCD or kubectl or any other process, your task workflow will always execute. You can currently manage event triggers in the Testkube dashboard and using kubectl. So I'd like to demonstrate how event trigger works in our cluster. So I will like to continue sharing. Bruno, can you please put me on stage?
Yes.
Thank you. And to start with, I wanted to show you my environment, my Kubernetes environment, and all the applications that I deployed using ArgoCD. So there are 3 applications here. The first one is Testkube demo. So this is the Testkube agent that I deployed on my infrastructure. So what is Testkube agent? Testkube agent, this is the service that you install into your Kubernetes infrastructure along with the application that you want to run your test workflows against too. Testkube agent executes tests, it listens to Kubernetes events, and the important thing to remember is you always install it on your infrastructure, unlike the Testkube dashboard, our SaaS solution. So we are connecting here our agent to our dashboard, basically. The next is the test workflows. So I have deployed the test workflows using the ArgoCD. You already seen these test workflows in the dashboard. I have just created a simple ArgoCD application and synced these test workflows from my Git repository. Good thing about the ArgoCD and Testkube is that when you accidentally delete your test workflow from the cluster in the CLI on the ArgoCD UI, you can sync it back using ArgoCD. And the last application is basically the simple Nginx app application that we will be modifying and triggering our task workflows against too. So I have already deployed a test trigger here, and I will show you the manifest firstly, and then we will update the Nginx deployment and see how this test trigger launched a test workflow in our Kubernetes cluster. So I will move to my
yeah, if I can add, like the big advantage of having these workflows that ArgoCD synchronized to your cluster is that Argo is synchronizing your applications and the testers applications. So you're like doing both things at the same time, and it's really nice for you to see in an easy way what is going to get deployed and how the thing that you just deployed is going to be tested. And and both of it is version control, which is also like really cool.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so you're seeing my repository, is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so we have this Testkube example repository, which is publicly available, and you can basically access it anytime you like. So I have created my examples in this folder. So now I will open this Nginx and directory, and will show you the test trigger manifest. So I will zoom it a little bit. So this is a very simple manifest. What it does, it basically works with the deployment manifest. It's that has these labels, and it's reacting to this event. So basically, when we modify the deployment with app Nginx labels, the test trigger will execute a test workflow. And what this test workflow is the postman workflow smoke success that we specified here. So yeah, basically that's it. It's a very, very simple one. We can also we also have here the conditions. This is basically the list of checks from a resource to be sure that it is in the ready state. So deployment must be progressing and must be available. And yeah, the action is run. It's the only one supported action for now. We allow the concurrent policy. And yeah, the execution is test workflow, and the name of the test workflow is Postman workflow smoke test. So if we right now update the deployment of our Nginx application, so this is the application. This is a very simple deployment and service. I would like to update the image. Then I will push it to my Git repo. Oh, sorry. Yep. Yeah, and if I go back to my ArgoCD, so this is the Nginx application that we are working on. And let's not wait for the ArgoCD to sync audits now. Let's do it right now. It usually takes some time to sync it. Yeah, and now we see that a new pod is launched with the another image. We had the version 1.0, now we had 2.0. And now as the deployment was modified, we can go to our Testkube dashboard and see that this Postman workflow smoke test was just now executed. And if we go to the executions, we can see that, yeah, it's just now executed and it is successful. Yeah, I think that's it for the test triggers, unless, Bruno, you want to add something? Other, we can move on to the post-sync hook.
No, it's really good, and you know, the main value of this the test functionality is that you can react to any changes in your cluster. So whenever instead of setting up like steps in your CI/CD to test to run any test when anything happens, you can just tell Testkube, listen for this event or for this change, and then you want to test it. So it's good for Argo because it's when Argo deploys the application, does any changes, Testkube will run the tests or anything changes. But can also be it could be a deployment, but can also be a config map or a secret or like many things that happen in your cluster. So it's like very reactive, and is a easy way to ensure that everything gets tested early and very often.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks. And one thing that can be added is that the test triggers that will execute if your resource is a part of a very big application, and this application sometimes may fail synchronizing or not being initialized correctly, but the test workflow will still execute. So this should be taken into account when working with this event trigger. Posts and hooks, they are executed by Argo after it has successfully synced resources within applications. Basically, very simple definition, and this is the perfect fit for your GitOps pipeline. Yeah, so to demonstrate how the post and hook work, we will use the same Nginx application, the same Git repo, however, a different manifest, which will be a Kubernetes job with the post and hook annotation. And now I will share my screen again. Yeah, could you please put me? Yeah, thanks. So I'm again into my repo. I'll now close the application. I will close the test trigger, and I will open the post and hook. So the example is also quite simple. This is the kind job. Then it has just two annotation, post sync and hook succeeded. Hook succeeded means that the job will be deleted once it's executed successfully. What this job does is basically launches the Testkube CLI container image. It accepts a few environmental variables that are passed here as secrets, as these are the sensitive values. So we have here API token, environment ID, organization ID, and root domain. All these values you can find in your on your dashboard. Then the job sets the context using this the values that you provided and runs basic CURL task workflow. So now I will deploy this this Kubernetes job, this post and hook, as part of my ArgoCD application and along with Nginx application. So oops, I will go to my applications. I have this Nginx ArgoCD application that syncs everything that is located into test trigger ArgoCD demo Nginx, except for these two files. It's excluding them. So I will now remove the post and hook file and will update the application. So our application is configured. If we go back to the ArgoCD UI and refresh the page, and then we probably need to sync it again. So it's out of sync. Yep, and let's do the synchronization. So we should see here the post and hook job hopefully we will see it shortly.
Yeah, so for our viewers out there, we are using Nginx as an example, right? Of any application. So it could be any application that anybody has. They would use ArgoCD to deploy it, right? And then this posting hook would test it, right? For any change, right?
Yeah. So basically, we have here the job that was created a few seconds ago because we synchronized the application, and it's already there because it executed successfully. It was deleted from the cluster because of the hook succeeded annotation. And if we go to the dashboard, we will see the CURL test that was executed a minute ago. So basically, that sums up how the posting hook work. Once we do trigger the synchronization, then the job is created. It triggers the test workflow that we defined there, and once it's successful, it gets deleted from the cluster.
It's really nice to talk about ArgoCD, how you can follow a GitOps approach, how you can test your applications while they are being deployed using GitOps, and also for Argo rollouts, the same thing. If you enjoyed it, feel free to give Testkube a try and try to integrate with your pipelines, your processes. If you have any questions, we have a big Slack channel full of members of our community, testers, DevOps, like people from all realms are there, talking with each other and helping each other, do better testing. And also, if you want to send an email, you can just send an email to me at bruno@keepshop.io, and I'll be really happy to talk with you. So stay tuned, and hope to see you guys in the next webinar that we do.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.